And just to say thank you, you're doing great work, and I would thank you on behalf of everybody out there who is victim of this vicious system. I don't know if any of you watched Daniel Blake was on the telly again over Christmas, my second or third time to see it, but this keeps coming back into your head, the outcomes of these vicious ways of trying to force people into employment, unsuitable employment, etc. But mostly it is vicious because of the level of employment now in 2019 is almost full, and they're crying out for workers. Why are the penalties increasing? So when I asked a PQ in October, the rate of sanctions from the time this system was introduced, it goes from 359 sanctions in 2011 to 55,828 in total over that whole period, 11,169 in 2018. Now, there's no explaining that except that it is punitive, and it is a way of trying to cut back on the appearance that the Social Protection Department are doing their job. In fact, what they're doing is they're paying out all this money to private companies, and I have a few questions for Mr. Rudd on that issue because, again, as mentioned by Deputy Brady, the figure of 557.70 cents per signature, you quote that figure, and I accept that. I ask myself, how in the name of God do you reach a figure like that? How do they calculate it? 557.70 cents, not 558, or not 500, or not 600, or 550. How do they calculate it down to this exact 70 going on? What is going on when the two companies are further subcontracting out, outsourcing their own work? Can you explain what you think is happening there? Is it that they can't cope with the volume of penalties that they're introducing, or the volume of people who are coming before them through intrio or through random selection? And then I also would like, if any of you can tell us if you've done any work on the rate of individuals who've been blocked from going back to education or into a CE scheme, because we get lots of people coming to us who, at the same time, almost simultaneously, within days or hours sometime, they're called into JOBPATH, and then they're told by a different department that you have the back to education allowance, or that there's a CE scheme there for you to participate in, and they're immediately blocked by JOBPATH from going into that back to education scheme or into community employment, which is a huge contradiction. In terms of what the government say they're trying to achieve, it's a contradiction. It's also very clear that a lot of the work that they're forcing people into is precarious work. And we just passed a bill here before Christmas to try and organise around precarious work, the bandit hours contract bill that was to try and stop the spread of precarious work. And look what we're doing, forcing people into further and further precarious work. I too want to comment on the forced change of name by that was forced on that traveller man to hide his ethnicity. I came from a meeting with the Oireachtas Traveller Group the other day, where the Minister explained to us all of the different initiatives they're taking to bring about the recognition of ethnicity. And this again is another contradiction in government policy, that they try to force travellers to change their ethnicity while another department is spending a fortune, literally, on creating committees that's going to try and help them gain their ethnicity rights. Those are the main questions, just the blocking of individuals, how they reach the cost, the outsourcing, the precarious nature of it. And the very last question, it might be a long answer, but if it is, you might be able to give it to me expanded in writing. You say in your submission, Mr. Rudd, that the reasons that one of the agendas of the department is to honour the IMF and EU agreement. Can you expand on that? What does the agreement actually say that the government have agreed to, the IMF and the EU? What does it actually say about forcing people into this kind of a contract through the state machine?
Thank you very much, Deputy Smith. Just before I go to the witnesses, I want to put things in context. You today, first of all, to thank